Hey everybody, Carnage back here again, and welcome to the first official episode of In the Woods. And as you can see, I'm in woods, but they're not actually the woods I was in for the first video. They're actually the ones right behind my house. So I'm more safe because I'm literally, like, as we speak, I can see my house, my neighbor's house, and a few more houses. So I'm perfectly safe. Uh, yeah, like, see, there's a house right about there. So, yeah, 100% safe. Not gonna get hurt, and if I do, I'm literally, like maybe a couple 100 feet from my house, so perfectly fine. But anyway, uh, yeah, going back to it, welcome to episode 1 of In the Woods. And I'm gonna be telling you guys a couple of different things about myself, like why I got into comic books and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm having a mixture of like a sore throat and bad allergies at the same time. So I'm kind of a little like messed up in the voice area, so if I sound a little different, I apologize. But yeah, anyway, where do I start? Well, I'd always been a fan of like everything superhero related ever since I was about late 4, early 5, I want to say. And the reason that I got into superheroes, stuff like that, was because of the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s, the early 2000s Avengers, the 90s X-Men, Fantastic Four, The Incredible Hulk, uh, the Batman and Superman cartoon. Like, I know I used to watch the reruns of those on a old channel that was called Jetix, and like I know it is no longer like uh what's the word? It no longer exists or anything like that. Like, I believe the company shut down and Disney bought it and they renamed it Disney XD. So yeah, but sorry for that little tangent. But anyway, like I'd always been a fan of those. Like the Spider-Man movies were still uh, somewhat new anyway. Like Tobey Maguire movies anyway. The X-Men movies were about a couple years old at that point, especially the first one. But yeah, those what got me mainly started into. Excuse me. What mainly got me started, and then sorry, kind of said then twice. But then, uh, whenever I was at my dad's house, he had Cartoon Network, and the what was it? Cartoon Network, and Cartoon Network usually showed like the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. So that's another thing that got me more into like DC Comics at the time. And also, fun fact, I recently bought that, like the entire series on DVD for about $40 about 2 months ago, I want to say. And it was just as great as I remembered it when I was a little kid. But anyway, with all those cartoons, all those movies that were around when I was growing up, that just kind of like started it. And another reason was because, well, my dad's not a bad guy. He just has a mildly short temper sometimes. And my sister and him are almost exactly alike, where they're both stubborn people. So him and her would fight a lot. Like, she is 4 years older than me, and I still remember my dad and my sister screaming at each other a lot. And that's kind of what brought me to superheroes a little more. They made me feel, safe, secure, everything like that when my dad was yelling. So, and I repeat, my dad is not a bad guy. He just has a big, stubborn attitude, and a little bit of a short temper. Like, he never hit us aside from when he spanked us. But aside from that, never hit me, never left any marks of any kind. I'm just saying this just because I don't want you guys to be like, oh my gosh, he was abused, he needs to, like, get the police involved and blah, 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 blah. Don't do that. My dad is a great guy, just a mildly short temper. But anyway, away from that. Excuse me. Yeah, and then what kind of blossomed more for my superhero love and affection was when, I want to say, like, whenever Uncanny Avengers and Uncanny X-Men, like with Cyclops wearing his red, like, it's one of the Cyclopses that's in Marvel Contest of Champions, not the one that's like the old style Jim Lee one, but the one where he's like wearing a black dress with like a red X for where his like eyes are. That costume is one was actually one of my first comics, along with the Uncanny Avengers, which my step grandmother bought me, and I really appreciate it that she did buy me some of my first comics. Sorry, my hair's a little messy. But yeah, going on from there, it kind of blossomed a little more when like they started making more like superhero cartoons, like Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes in like 2010, I believe it was. Sorry, there was like a bird in a tree or something like that. Anyway, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes came out in 2010 when I was still in, like, I want to say like 4th or 5th grade. And that show is what made me really, really fall in love with those. And I think that, like, a couple years later, that's when I got the comic books. Because I know in elementary school, I started collecting, like, they were still Marvel characters. They were just called Mini-Mates. And they're basically like a normal, like, 6-inch figure, except shrunk down to 3 and 7, or less than 3 inches, I think. Anyway, they're about, so, like, exactly that big. I think that's about an inch or 2 inches, something like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I have so many of them from when I was a kid. Some of them are broken, which kind of saddens me because, like, I barely got to play with them. Like, it's just the fact that I did not know you could heat up the joints before you could play with them, so they wouldn't break. Excuse me. And yeah, Mini-Mates were what basically started me into getting into action figure collections. Again, I don't know if you guys can hear anything that's around me, but there's birds and possibly a couple of other animals that I cannot see, and the leaves underneath of me, so much apologies. And from what happened after that was, like, after I started watching the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon, I got really, really, really into superhero stuff. And then 2012 came around, and that's when the first Avengers movie came out. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really pumped for it. Like, really, really, because I was like, oh yeah, this is probably gonna have, like, Black Panther, Spider-Man, blah, 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 blah. No, it did not. It just had, like, the ones from the movies, which kind of saddened me a little bit, but you know what? It still made me excited, happy that I at least got to see Captain America, who is my favorite character in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. And the main reason why he was my favorite was just mainly because of, like, the episode where he first appeared. I think it was like episode 4 or 5, something like that. I'm not so sure, but I know it was titled Man Out of Time, and that's just kind of what got me really, really into being on a Captain America fan. Like, just that one episode just got to me, man. Almost tripped over a stick, but we're good. And then, like, after the first Avengers movie came out, a couple years go by. Yeah, still buying Minimates, and I'd kind of upgraded a little bit from Minimates to 3.75-inch Marvel Universe figures. And my first one was, I want to say, like, series 3, 4? I don't remember, but I know it was the same wave that had Kang the Conqueror in it. Kang the Conqueror in it in 3.75-inch figure form. And yeah, my first one was She-Hulk. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I really, really like these guys. Like, I was watching a lot of videos in between that and the cartoons of just superhero collectibles and action figures. Like, the only thing I'd really collected up until this point was Minimates, and they did not look a whole lot like actual people. They were more like, how can I describe it? Kind of like more articulated Lego figures is the best way I could describe it. And then from there, like, after I bought that first Marvel Universe figure, I kind of got hooked on, like, Marvel 3.75-inch figures. Like, my first three were She-Hulk, which I found at Walmart for about $10, I believe. And that's another great reason why I loved 3.75-inch figures, because they were a good deal, like a good price anyway. So I could buy like 2 or 3 of them for about $20, $20 to $30 at least. Like, once you start buying like multiples of them, they do kind of like stack up and build in money. But I was a really young kid at the time, so I only bought like one at a time. The most I ever bought at once was like 2. But anyway, started off with She-Hulk, who I got at Walmart, and then I know, like, I want to say one time when me and my dad were going to church, which I go to church. I used to go to church about an hour away. So yeah, we would go there. Then we would go to the mall for a bit, and then on the way out, if he needed groceries or something, he would stop at Target. And yeah, I bought my second figure there, who was Gladiator, and he was a pretty cool figure. Like, I didn't know anything about him. I was just more like, oh, I really want to get more into these, like, 3.75-inch Marvel figures, blah, 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 blah. Excuse me again. And so I bought him. And then I know when I was going to the zoo in Omaha, which is still by far the greatest zoo. It's actually the only zoo I've ever been to, but it's so cool. I really enjoy going to it. We went to a Toys R Us, which I think I heard a cow. Sorry, kind of got distracted. Anyway, we went to the mall, Toys R Us, after we went to the zoo, because I asked very politely if I could. So we did. We went down the aisle. It took me a little bit to find like the 3.75-inch Marvel Universe figures, and when I did, I found one from Series 2, and it was the Captain America World War II with like the triangle shield and everything. And I was like, oh my god, it's Captain America. I really loved him in the movie. I really loved him in the cartoon. I really want to get it. So I did in turn buy him. And I know there was like a few other ones that I really wanted to, but at the time I was like really young. Like, I want to say like, well, not really young. Like, I was old enough to the point where I could at least like possibly make a lot of money at least get a semi decent job for being like either late 13, early 14, something like that, like in middle school, I want to say. And from there, that's when my collection kind of grew. Like, it did also take me a couple months to kind of get, like, yeah, more like 3.75-inch figures. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling on, and I do apologize for that. I'm just trying to, like, kickstart my own brain when I'm talking sometimes, so I apologize. And then from there, it took like about a month or so before I bought any more after the She-Hulk, Gladiator, and Captain America. And this was way before I had a shelf or anything to put it on. So I kept them in a cardboard box in my closet, and I would take them out to play with whenever I got bored, which was often. And yeah, uh, my next figures that I bought were Wolverine and Spider-Man, who both were some of my favorite characters from some of the favorite cartoons I watched when I was really young. And yeah. And then for Christmas, my dad bought me about 5 more. And I don't know how I physically still remember which order I got all the figures in, but I got Warpath, Dark Knight, Baron Zemo, Warpath, Dark Knight, Baron Zemo. What was his name? Omega Red, and he was kind of a rare one for a while. And what was the last one? Um, I'm kind of drawing a blank at the last one, but if I remember it, I'll say it. And then for like about, I want to say like Christmas time. Like I got those for Christmas, like those 5 figures. Well, the 4 plus the one I can't fully remember at the moment. Darkhawk. That was the last one. Darkhawk, Black Knight. I kind of got 2 of them mashed together. So, but yeah, Black Knight, Darkhawk, Baron Zemo, Warpath, and Omega Red were the 5 that my dad bought me for Christmas. And I was very excited about that because they were so cool looking, and I really enjoyed them. And then, for my birthday, my dad bought me, like, I never really wanted a whole lot for my birthday aside from, like, movies and, like, 3.75-inch figures. Like, I was a very easy child to shop for. And I know for my birthday, I just put down, like, oh, Marvel Universe 3.75-inch figures. My dad bought me 2, and they were the Space Armor Iron Man and Puck. And that Puck I still try to use for my X-Men shelf because, well, I mean, the old Build-A-Figure is really expensive, and I don't have a lot of room at the moment to buy the, like, what's it called? Alpha Flight box set, which has Puck and, like, the other 5 members of Alpha Flight. So, yeah. So he's working pretty well. He's very short compared to everyone else. Like, doesn't fit in scale, but he's mainly going to be in Bigfoot's hand, so it works out for me anyway. And kind of, we're almost rolling at we are almost at the 20-minute mark, so I do apologize. I've been rambling a lot, but I'm just again trying to kickstart my own memory because I haven't thought about some of this stuff in a while. Yeah, and then I want to say about when Spider-Man 2 came out, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I mean, when that movie came out, they released like the Ultimate Green Goblin Build-A-Figure, and yeah, like from like I want to say like 3-4 months before this, that's when I first found out about Marvel Legends figures. And yeah, I really got into them after this moment. It was about 2014, I think, when The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out. And that movie kind of hit me hard. And I was like, oh yeah, I really, really like this wave. I really want to get them all. I really think the figure that you can buy and put together looks really cool. And I still have not completed him yet, and that was nearly 7 years ago at this point, I want to say. And he is still 99% complete. I just need the leg that came with, not Captain Boomerang. I think it's just Boomerang in Marvel, right? Anyway, whichever leg came with Boomerang, because that's the last one I need to finish him. Yeah. Sorry, again, I haven't taken him out of where, like, the Build-A-Figure of Ultimate Goblin. Like, I still have it, along with, the Mandroid. I just need 2 more parts, the head and the leg that came with Stealth Captain America. And speaking of Stealth Captain America, that's actually how I met one of my closest friends on YouTube, Hobo525. And yeah, like, the reason how I found Hobo was I didn't find him. He kind of commented on a post of mine on the Essos Hunters when they were, like, still kind of new, I want to say. Like, they'd only been doing it for about 6 months at this point, I want to say, when I first met Hobo. And I put a comment on that said, what was your first ever Build-A-Figure? Because this was for, like, a Q&A, stuff like that. He commented, I was like, oh, this kid's a little bit of a smarty pants, so I'm gonna go see if he makes any content. Leave a comment on his video saying, dude, I was trying to ask him, why did you answer it, blah 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 blah. But then I realized that he made Marvel reviews, well, Marvel Legends figures reviews, and that's kind of how it started. I was like, oh, he makes videos, I should probably watch one before I, like, kind of bully this kid. Which I'm happy I didn't bully him, because he's a really cool kid. He kind of reminds me of a little bit of myself when I was about his age. I mean, I was like 16 at the time, I want to say. 16, 17, and he's like 2 years younger than me, so he would have been like 14, 15, or I was either 4. I don't remember at this point how old I was. But yeah, that's kind of how I met Hobo, and because of Hobo, I did kind of continue making videos more, just because I was like, oh, okay, he makes videos at least regularly, I should probably try to. And I'm not going to say I've really kept up to that kind of deal, and I do apologize, which is kind of why I'm starting to do this, like, whole video series of me in the woods. And yeah, and, like, basically after that, no wait, I met Hobo in 2017, so I would have been 17, he would have been like 15. Yeah, okay, I just remembered. Yeah, I skipped a couple years, but when I met Hobo, I was about 3 years into collecting. My first figure was Toxin from the, like, Ultimate Goblin wave. Then it kind of went from there. Like, I have a few valuable figures, like, that I probably wouldn't have found if I started collecting, like, any later. Like, Ghost Rider. Like, I found that figure at Walgreens, and I bought it for my birthday, and I did want Superior Venom 2, but I didn't have a lot of, like, my dad gave me like $20 or $40 to go spend on whatever I wanted for my birthday, which I bought Ghost Rider, and I would have bought Superior Venom, but I sadly missed out on him at that Walgreens. And I also remember there being I also remember seeing multiple Pizza Spider-Mans on the pegs at Walmart, and I was so, like, my thought process was, okay, I'm only going to buy one of each character, like one Spider-Man, one Captain America, stuff like that. Yeah, that didn't hold up for very long, because my first 4 figures were Toxin, who I thought was Carnage for most of the time I had him, up until I saw a video about Toxin. I was like, oh, this character looks a lot like my first ever Marvel Legend. I guess I got it wrong for a while. And I do apologize that I'm not like showing more like around me, but I mean, there's not a whole lot. I'm literally just like in a very small wooden patch, literally behind my house. So there's not a lot of interesting things happening back here, aside from like a few animals talking. I mean, if you look back there, there's a destroyed garbage can. But where was I? Yeah, I bought my first Marvel Legend 2014 after I saw The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then I want to say like the month after that, after I bought my first one, my dad and I went to go help my grandmother at an antique show, which I normally do every year, but we didn't go this year because Corona happened and stuff like that. So, but I usually buy like a lot of comic books from the guy I bought my Series 1 Captain America, the Spider Man from the Sentinel Wave, which I'm still amazed I got for $12. Like, it's not broke or anything, it's only missing, like, the little, like, whatever the little, like, web thing was under his arm. And Falcon. Falcon from Toy Biz. Like, all three of them were Toy Biz figures, and I was like, oh, I have a very cool Captain America, blah, 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 blah. Stuff like that. And then, from there, my collection just started growing a lot, building a lot. And I normally try to show off in my YouTube videos every single like thing I've picked up, whether it be comic books, anything like that. Not like comic books and action figures mainly. Uh, excuse me. Like the only thing I really don't show is like the movies I get because, well, I mean, I usually buy like older movies that are just plain DVD, and I don't really find those kind of interesting at all. Excuse me. Like I'm more of like I'm not gonna say I like am the most active person. Like I prefer just sitting in the house, just watching a movie or two, rather than like going out and doing something with people. Just because I'm more of like a homebody than anything. Like I mean, the most I actually go out of my house is when like someone messages me like, "Hey, you want to hang out or something?" or blah 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 blah. So, anyway, that's a little getting into personal territory, I'm gonna say. So, yeah, that's kind of how I started. Like, if you guys have any questions about anything else, just leave a comment down below. Ooh, it's getting cold out. Yeah, I should not have done this in 40. I think it was like 48 degrees when I started doing this. It might have dropped a few degrees since then. But yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, leave a comment down below. If you have any more questions or want to know anything else about me, just leave it down below. And yeah, with that said and done, my name is Carnage, and I will catch all of you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Peace.